For centuries, this was the single most dominant force on the battlefield, a formation that could turn ordinary citizens into an armored, unstoppable killing machine. It built empires and it toppled them. Today, we're decoding the Phalanx, what made it work, what were its fatal flaws, and how it was re-engineered into something even deadlier. Let's dive in. To really get what the Phalanx was, you have to picture this. It's not just soldiers standing in a line. It's a living, breathing fortress. Your entire life depends on the guy to your right, and his life depends completely on you. It's a system built on absolute trust and discipline. And you could just imagine the terror of seeing this unified entity marching towards you, the ground shaking with every single step. And listen, this system didn't just work, it completely dominated. We're talking about 300 years. From about 700 BC all the way to the rise of Macedon, the Phalanx was the undisputed king of ancient warfare. If you wanted to take on the great city-states of Greece, you first had to figure out how in the world to break this wall. So how did this wall of shields actually work? What were the moving parts that made it so incredibly tough? Well, to understand its strength, we first have to get a sense of the immense physical burden placed on every single soldier, the hoplite. Okay, the first thing you have to notice on this slide is just the sheer weight. Each hoplite, these are the Greek citizen soldiers, is lugging around 50 to 70 pounds of gear. But the real heart of the system, the key to the whole thing, is that big round shield, the hoplon. You carry it on your left arm, which means it's not really for you. It's protecting the exposed right side of the man to your left. That's why losing your shield was the ultimate disgrace. You weren't just failing yourself, you were breaking the wall and getting everyone else killed. The formation itself was basically a machine with very distinct parts. Now here's the crazy part. Only the first few ranks were actually fighting with their spears. So what were the other 5-6 ranks doing? They were the engine. Their shields were literally pressed into the backs of the men in front of them, creating this constant, massive forward pressure. And this all built up to a phase of the battle the Greeks had a specific and pretty brutal word for, the athosmos. The push. And it's as savage as it sounds. Historians still debate whether it was a literal grinding shoving match or more of a sustained crushing pressure. But honestly, it doesn't matter. The psychological impact would have been terrifying. Imagine tons of armored men and bronze pushing together as one. The goal wasn't just to kill the guy in front of you, it was to physically and mentally break the entire enemy formation, to crush their will to fight under an unstoppable weight of force. For centuries, if you were facing this thing from the front, it was invincible, an armored tidal wave. But it wasn't perfect. In fact, the Phalanx's greatest strengths created 3 catastrophic weaknesses that clever commanders learned to exploit, and those weaknesses would eventually lead to its downfall. So here's the crucial thing to understand. The Phalanx was a one-trick pony. But man, it was an incredible trick. As long as you faced it head-on, on flat open ground, you were probably going to lose. But if you could attack its unshielded right flank, or catch it on a hillside where the lines start to break apart, or even just harass it from a distance, that unstoppable wall could crumble into total chaos. Let's really zero in on that first weakness, because it's just a fascinating piece of battlefield psychology. Think about it. Your shield is on your left arm, which means your entire right side is exposed. So every single soldier in every phalanx had this natural, subconscious instinct to edge just a little bit to his right to try and get under the cover of his neighbor's shield. And when everyone does that at once, the entire formation would slowly, unconsciously, drift to the right as it marched forward. Now, for generations, these weaknesses defined Greek warfare. The whole game was about protecting your own right flank while trying to smash the enemies. And then, this king from the rough-and-tumble north of Greece shows up, Philip II of Macedon. He didn't just want to play the game better. He wanted to rewrite the rules completely. And his first innovation was a game changer. Just look at this. Philip gets rid of the traditional 8-foot dory spear and replaces it with a sarissa, an enormous 18-foot pike that you had to hold with 2 hands. The difference in reach was just staggering. A traditional Greek phalanx would have to charge through this forest of death, facing the spear points from the first 5 Macedonian ranks before their own weapons could even touch anyone. So, let's see how this all fits together into a completely new way of fighting. Philip understood something fundamental. The best upgrade isn't always just a stronger version of what you already have. He kept the phalanx, but it was no longer the star of the show. It became his anvil, the big, heavy, unbreakable center designed to just hold the enemy in place. And then he added a hammer, his elite heavy cavalry. The phalanx pins the enemy, and the cavalry smashes into their exposed flank for the killing blow. He turned a single tactic into a combined arms machine. And the ultimate test came in 338 BC at the Battle of Chaeronea. This is where Philip and his 18-year-old son Alexander faced the combined might of Athens and Thebes. The Theban sacred band, these guys were considered the most elite fighters in all of Greece. They were annihilated. Philip's new system didn't just beat the old one, it made it obsolete. In a single, bloody afternoon, the age of the traditional Greek phalanx was over. So why did the original phalanx die out? Well, its end wasn't really a failure. It was actually a crucial step in the evolution of military strategy, and it taught a lesson that is still fundamental to how wars are fought today. And this right here is the key takeaway. Philip's genius was realizing that the wall itself wasn't the goal. The wall was a tool. It was a tool you use to fix your enemy in place so you can destroy them from a direction they can't defend. It was this seismic shift from just thinking about formations to thinking about grand strategy. The principles he pioneered are truly timeless. Any system that's invincible from only one direction is basically just telling your enemy exactly where to attack you. Any rigid plan is going to break the second it hits unexpected trouble. And sometimes, the best innovation isn't making one thing stronger, but adding something else that works with it. These are lessons still being learned on battlefields today. Ultimately, the story of the phalanx is a story of rigidity versus flexibility. It was an unstoppable force that dominated for centuries, until it met a system that wasn't just strong, but also adaptable. And this raises the question that would define the next great military power to come. What happens when an unstoppable force meets a truly flexible one? The answer to that question would change the world.